Hi everyone, let's talk about veganism. I really feel like this is such a difficult topic for me to even talk about because I know that it brings so much controversy. Whatever you basically say, it will be turned against you. I've been vegan for over 3.5 years right now. Before going vegan, I had never been vegetarian. I come from Poland, we eat a lot of meat. The question why I went vegan, it was never for me. It was never because I don't like meat. As ridiculous as it sounds, I'm gonna start my how I went vegan story from the fact that we got our dog around a year or two before I went vegan. I can't even describe it to you what changed in my perspective, but I guess seeing her, when I saw her being afraid, when I saw her getting angry, when I saw her getting offended at us, because literally they have their own tempers, their personalities, their emotions, they obviously feel pain, they obviously feel anger, and especially if you're observant, you can see it. And I think it was more of a subconscious thing than my conscious decision at that point, but that kind of made me realize how much animals are like us, how much they actually feel. When you're coming back home and she's the happiest little being on earth and your heart is just breaking because she is so happy she just can't deal with herself. And then I never really thought much about it, I just felt it. It was just in my heart because I love her so much. When I was at university, I had two of my friends that were vegan, and one was vegetarian/vegan. And they never really gladly try to convince anyone to become vegan. They were politely answering questions, they would prepare their own vegan food. On every party or whatever we were going, wherever we were going, they would bring their vegan food, but they never were too aggressive in your face with their veganism, which I think was the best approach ever. And I'm really glad that I had them in my life, to be fair. You know how you sometimes pop into some channels on YouTube because you see a title that was appealing to you and you start just watching randomly the videos of this person. I started to watch this channel that doesn't exist anymore. It was Maya, and her first video was about some workouts and fitness influencer or something completely unrelated. But then she started to talk about veganism. In first place, I would resist clicking into these videos, then I would actually start watching these videos. And somehow in my suggested videos, I had Frilly the banana, which I think is the most well-known figure in vegan community. And Frilly is obviously a really aggressive person in terms of explaining her reasons behind veganism, like her way is the only way and she's not letting you have anything different than this. And I think, unfortunately, even though her intentions are probably really great and I agree with them, her methods are just not right because she literally discouraged me from the first place. Like when you hear someone yelling at your face, "You're killing these animals, this is your fault, we should all be vegan." It basically gives you this reaction that, really? I can't eat my meat? Well, watch me, I'm going for a burger. When someone tries to force you to do something, your reaction is, I'm gonna do completely opposite. And I had this reaction kind of as well. But later on, when I started to talk to my friends about it, and they explained to me that, listen, we don't agree with her as well. You don't have to go fully vegan, you can just stop eating meat that much. And I think that that's kind of stuck to my head, but at that point yet I didn't really realize. But it never convinced me to the point that I would actually go vegan. And I felt in my bones that this is something right, and I felt that these people have a good point in doing this, but I still preferred to live in my bubble. I still had this idea in my head, like, you know, these happy cows on the field, eating grass, everything is perfect, like animals are on earth for us, right? Like, aren't they? What are they doing here? That was literally my point of view. It's almost this biblical way of thinking because I was raised in a Catholic family, that animals are here for us. The God created earth for humans with animals. So I think, okay, like as long as eating meat was never really that bothering for me, because I thought, listen, they are already dead, they can't feel it, so like, what's the problem here? But I started to be more concerned about the other parts, like cheese, eggs, milk, because when I started to hear about things like, listen, it's not like cow is given milk whole her life when she's an adult. Like, that's literally what I thought. I was so dumb and uneducated that I believe that the cows are just given milk, and we are taking this milk from them because we are helping them, because they don't know what to do with them. They will suffer. That's literally what you're being told in Poland as well. That's what I heard when I was a child, that then you need to take this milk off her because otherwise she's gonna suffer. So I was like, well, we are helping them, right? No. And then when my friends kind of started to open my eyes that, listen, they are mammals like we are. They only have milk when they have babies. And this milk is for their babies. And we are taking it away from them. And we are artificially inseminating them so she can give this milk to us. And that started to become wrong in my eyes. I was like, what? Are you joking right now? Are we really? But then I tried soya milk and I was like, oh my god, it's so disgusting. I felt still that I'm lying to myself. I just felt that there is so much more to it. And I knew it, like I could feel it subconsciously in my bones that there's so much more than this that I should figure out. But this truth is just brutal and cruel and awful, and nobody wants to watch it because we prefer to live like that and see only these beautiful commercials with cows on the grass. We don't really want to see the reality. And then I heard of Gary Yourofsky, and people were saying in videos on YouTube, listen, you just need to watch it, like that will change your world, it will change everything. And I refused to watch it for quite a long time because I felt that this will change my life. But sometimes we just don't want to change our life, right? Like, we prefer to live in this bubble. We prefer to think that, oh no, but animals live for us, cows on the grass, chickens on the grass, they have a healthy, beautiful life, so why am I even bothered? Like, we prefer to push this truth aside and not see it. And I had this one evening, and one of my friends from high school actually posted something on Facebook that had this, you know, when they have drastic content, this picture is blurred and you just need to access it. And I did it by accident. And I accessed the capture from the slaughterhouse. They were trying to transport a cow to the slaughterhouse, I think, and they tried to force her to get out of the car, to get out of the van, and she was refusing. They were using some electrical thing to force her to leave this vehicle. And there was this close-up on her eyes, and you could have seen how terrified she was. It's really difficult for me to even talk about it because I am getting emotional. But when I saw her eyes, I saw eyes of my dog. I know when my dog is scared when we go to the vet and she refuses to go there, and you can see it in her eyes, and I saw these eyes in a cow. I know how it sounds, but that's literally how I felt. And I watched the whole Gary Yourofsky speech, which is on YouTube, and I absolutely recommend everyone to see it. For your own education, for your own awareness, for you to know what's going on in this world, what kind of things you are not being shown at commercials, TV, wherever on the packages of cheese and meat. This is something I think we owe to animals to watch. And I watched this and I cried, and I watched the Q&A session after that. I cried even more, and that was it. I knew that from that point there was no coming back for me. I could not unsee it. And when I hear people talking about veganism, I know it's not really working well, and trying to convince someone to go vegan is not working well, mainly because when we talk about it, it doesn't really sound that logical. You can't really understand the reasons. You're just like, oh, you're overreacting, you're being over emotional, like these are just animals. The only thing that works, in my opinion, is literally showing the truth, is showing pictures from slaughterhouses. And I know people don't want to see them, obviously they don't, because it's cruel and awful, but it's the only way, in my opinion, to actually understand. After watching it, if you still decide to continue eating whatever you're eating, it's completely fine. It's your choice. I just want to say that, in my opinion, every person should see it. So from that day, I stopped eating meat, I stopped eating dairy. I just changed my diet. Even if I struggled in first place, I never seen this as a struggle because I knew the reasons behind it. I just felt it so strong in me that I just cannot be a part of it anymore. I just cannot financially support any of this cruelty anymore. If I'm at home loving my dog, petting my dog, giving her treats, and at the same time I am contributing to abusing other animals in this awful way, then I cannot sleep well after seeing that. Like, I just felt morally obligated to stop it. I know there are so many discussions about what about if someone has chickens on a backyard, what if I have a cow and I milk it. This is all everyone's conscious. Like, I'm not trying to tell anyone what to do in their life. I literally think that if you were eating chicken 7 times a week, every single day, and you decide to switch twice a week into something vegetarian, that's absolutely amazing. If you decided to change your milk into soya milk, that's absolutely amazing. I know not everyone can go vegan. I know there are health reasons behind not going vegan. I know that I am in a privileged situation to be able to be vegan because I live in London and I have all these products, all these substitutes. I can literally eat things that taste like meat and not have meat, but it's pricey. And I know not everyone can afford it. And I'm not trying to force anyone to go vegan, but I feel like if I was about to have one mission in my life, I would want everyone to be aware, to open everyone's eyes to what they pay for. And if they still continue and decide to stick to it, that's up to them. I cannot influence anyone's conscience, but I would like people to know, not see vegans just as, oh, they're oversensitive. I am not always 100%, and I think it's okay because we're all humans, and the fact that we are trying and we're doing something is already enough. I'm not always buying 100% cruelty-free vegan cosmetics, for example, because I usually buy cosmetics from Poundland and I cannot really afford buying all fancy Lush The Body Shop cosmetics for like £8 for shower gel. And I do sin sometimes, and I go to Poland and I eat pierogi in original version sometimes. That's why I really don't like to use this term anymore, because I know how much stigma there is around it. And unfortunately, there is also this whole huge thing about vegan community. It is super judgmental. It is also quite discouraging sometimes because people are not vegan enough, are not trying enough. If you ever ate honey, you cannot call yourself vegan. But it's not about labels. For me, it's about your heart and what you're doing, opening your eyes, basically. I always look at it in a way that, for me, it's way better to have 100 imperfect vegans or even vegetarians, just people reducing the amount of meat and other products that they consume, than having 10 absolutely perfect vegans who do everything right. Because the world is not perfect, and I don't think it should work this way as well. I'm gonna definitely link the video of Gary Yourofsky down below. I really highly recommend everyone to watch it. I didn't want to offend anyone, I just wanted to give you my point of view, how I look at things. it is always controversial to talk about veganism. It is always controversial to talk about anything basically like that. I know I'm not perfect. I bought not vegan things unintentionally so many times you have no idea. And it's okay, I think, because at least we are trying. I'm not trying to label myself. I'm not 100%. I'm not freely the banana. For me, this is all about awareness and compassion, and this is how I see it. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. Thank you so much for watching this video. It would be lovely if you comment down below and tell me your thoughts about it. And I hopefully see you in my next one. Bye.